everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going through my collection and I'm going to share with you guys my top 10 favorite palettes for the summer. Some of these are from last year, some of these are new to this year. I've went through my entire collection. I've narrowed it down to 10 and I'm excited to share with you guys which ones I picked that I plan to wear the most this summer. If new stuff comes out, then I might incorporate that, but these are perfect for summer. So they're in no particular order because it would be too hard to be like number 10, number 9. I am just gonna grab and we're gonna talk about them. So let's go ahead and get started. The first palette we're gonna talk about is the Tiny Marvels palette. This is Mel Thompson's palette that she created with Sydney Grace, and I love this color story. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I love this peachy shade and this beautiful pastel purple. This palette has such gorgeous shades for all year round. If you guys have this palette, definitely pull it out. I love wearing some of these pastel shades from this palette and I had to include it. I love like these two shades right here. This one, well actually, hold on. I love Scarab too. Is that what it's called? Scarab. I love this shade. It's so unique, this one right here. But these two right here are so gorgeous. One of the best, like, peachy pink, and the other is a rose gold. Some of the best, and I love it. And I also love putting that over top. Like, this is a beautiful palette to wear during the summer, so I had to include Tiny Marvels because, I mean, yeah, in honor of our Mel. The next one I have here is the Rose Quartz palette from Huda Beauty. So in my opinion, you guys, this is one of the best palettes from Huda Beauty overall. I love this palette. I love all the shades in here. I do. This shade is a little bit still wonky. I still don't get this shade. I will never use it because it's like a clear, weird, I don't know why she puts it in there. Actually, I have a suspicion, but I don't know to be true, but I think she includes weird shades like that just to get the talk about it. Like the more people talk about it, the more people want to know what it is. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but anyway, it's a useless shade. That's why I'm just speculating. But anyway, I love this palette. This palette is stunning. It has those like normal everyday colors, but it's also got those pops of pastel. It's just a gorgeous palette, and I had to include it in this video. So there you go. Speaking of pastels, I could not do this video without the pastel palette from Natasha Denona. This is her newest Midi size, and I love this palette. Here's the thing, I don't have a lot of pastel palettes in my collection. So for me, this is very unique, and this is going to be the palette if I'm wearing like a pastel shade. I'm gonna grab this palette and kind of correspond my eyeshadow with my shirt. I love doing that anyway. So this palette is everything I ever wanted in a pastel. And I have a hard time like mixing all the shades together, so I'm just not one that can do that. I can't take all these shades and have like all these different colors on the eyelids, but how I prefer to do it, which is how when I reviewed this palette, I did 3 looks doing it this way, but I basically matched like a shimmer with a matte. So I kind of used the matte shades to correspond with the shimmer. And that's how I prefer to use a palette like this because I'm not super colorful. But I mean, this is like the perfect summer, spring, everything palette. So anytime you're wanting to wear anything pastel, this is the palette that you're going to want to grab because it is amazing. So of course it had to be on the list. Plus it's Natasha Denona's formula. So overall, it's going to be amazing because you have great pastel shadows that are kind of hard to create. It's my understanding. I mean, I don't know anything about anything, but it's my understanding the pastel matte shadows are very hard to formulate, and Natasha Denona nailed it in that palette. There's no muddiness, there's no skipping, there's no dry patches, like they're just very smooth pastel shadows, and so she nailed it. It had to be on the list. Next one is from Tarte. Now you guys know that I love the big palette, and the big palette is no longer available, but the smaller palette is still available. I wore the big palette all summer long last year, all summer long. That was all I reached for months and months and months and months and months. This is summer. You have all of the pinks, but the right color and right tones of pinks where I don't look like I got punched in the face. There's a lot of purples and pinks out there that I have a hard time wearing because I look like I've been punched in the face, but these tones are always so perfect and so soft on the eye. And this palette you can now pick up at Ulta, and it is fantastic, and I love the smell of it. It's got that like vanilla kind of cupcake smell. Oh, it's so good. The next one is also from Natasha Denona. This is the Mini Retro. This is the palette I've said multiple times, but this is the palette that I did not know I needed until I got it. This palette is perfection. It's my favorite mini size palette from Natasha Denona. One of my favorite palettes from her in all my collection. The way that these shades work together and correspond together is very unique. And I never would have thought to put these kinds of tones together, but it's like perfection. And the nice thing about it is too, is that even though you have 5 shades, if you don't want to mix them, this color does build really well on its own. You can build it to give a little bit of dimension on the outer corner. And then you can pair it with either one of these shimmer shadows right here, which is such a perfect summer look. Then you have these greens right here. You can use this as a little bit of the base, throw this in the crease, throw this on the lid, and you're good. Like, these tones are so perfect, and I love this palette from Natasha Denona. And I wore it all summer last year, and I plan to do the same this year. Okay, so I got a few from Tom Ford. So many of you guys know that I love the Tom Ford Wet Dry formula. And how you will know which palettes are the wet dry and which palettes are not is the wet dry formula has the TF embossed on the actual shadow. So like this shade, you can almost see it's not there anymore. I'm actually wearing this palette on my eyelids right now. So I put this on the lid, and I put a tiny bit of that to give it a little bit of sparkle. And then I put this in the crease. So easy, out the door. It's such a good palette. So this is the number 33 Rose Prism. And I'm not so sure if this one's still available or not. I guess I need to look. I actually got this on sale. So I can't remember where I got it. Whether it was like Neiman Marcus, Bergdorf Goodman, something like that. They were having a really good sell of Tom Ford quads, and I was able to pick this up. I don't know that I would pay full price with it for this one. This one, in my opinion, not fully worth the full price, but it is a gorgeous palette. And what I like about it is it's very soft on the eyelid. So it's not super, super sparkly and intense on the eye. It's just a really beautiful palette overall. And I mean, I love this peachy shade. So therefore, I'm gonna pretty much be wearing this a lot during the summer. Okay, so the next Tom Ford quad is the Virgin Orchid. This palette is gorgeous. This palette is so pretty. This is more, it's exactly what it is. It's got those purple undertones to it, but in the most beautiful way. So this one is very similar to the Rose Prism, just as far as the overall textures. And you can put these shadows on dry, or you can dampen the brush and really bring the intensity to them. This is gonna be one I'm definitely gonna be using all summer long. I just love these shades. And I had to mention Nude Dip. Nude Dip is the one I use the most because, I mean, you can see the TF is almost completely gone. This is another wet dry formula, but the TF is barely visible. This one I actually, I've said this multiple times, but I'm gonna say it for those who haven't heard it. This one I actually picked up at the cosmetic company store. So if you live next to an outlet mall, I would recommend looking to see if they have a cosmetic company store in your local outlet mall, because if they do, they sell Estee Lauder products, and Tom Ford is owned by Estee Lauder. And I picked this palette up for like $32, $33 last summer. So I'm actually pre-filming right now, and I'm getting ready to go to Florida for 3.5 weeks to St. Augustine to visit our family and stuff. And I'm gonna go to that cosmetic company store, and I'm just really hoping I get some good Tom Ford products there. But this is the best Tom Ford quad. I love it. It's one of my absolute favorites. I wore it all last summer, and I'm gonna continue to wear it this year because it's just such a beautiful, gorgeous palette. Then we have the Charlotte Darling palette. This is the palette that I love when I'm looking for that really pretty warm look, right? Where it's kind of gives you that like sunset type, These shadows are super dependable, super beautiful, small, and very travel friendly. And I love the shimmers in here. And I like that there's an equal amount of shimmers versus mattes. And it just, all of the shades blend beautifully. Her matte shadows are so pigmented. This is definitely one of my favorites. I also love the Exaggerize quad, and I was gonna use that in this video, and I can't find it. I don't know what the hell I did with it, and I'm not very happy about that. So I need to look and see where the hell that palette is, because I am going to be really ticked off if I lost it. Then finally we have the Retro palette from Natasha Denona. This palette I'm going to love this summer. I love these gorgeous kind of icy pink shadows up here. And I also love this shadow and this shadow. These shimmer shadows are so pretty. Let me show you. I'm just going to swatch them really fast. Oh, they're so pretty. I love all 4 of those shimmer shadows. And I also really love, now I'm not a big fan of the cream powder formula from Natasha Denona. I never have been, but this shade right here is a cream powder. It's called Go-Go, and I love this shade. I love it. It is so flattering on the eye, and it's like butter. It blends and like melts into the eyelid, and it's the perfect color because it's not too light and it's not too dark. One of the biggest reasons why I'm not a fan of the creamy powder formula is that I can't really build a lot of intensity with it. So sometimes I just get kind of frustrated because the color that you see is the color you're going to get, and you can pack that color on top of itself over and over and over. And because it has that creamy base, it never builds dimension. Not like a traditional matte, like a powder matte, right? But this shade all on its own is perfect because it's not too light and it's not too dark, and it's just amazing, and it goes with all of these shimmers. I love the Retro. So if you have the Retro, definitely pull it out and wear it for the summer, because like these shades are so summer appropriate. I feel like this is definitely a palette that's made to be worn in the summer, right? I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I love that Retro. Those are my top 10 palettes that I plan to use for this summer. I'm so excited for the summer. I live in a seasonal climate, and I live in a ski resort town, and we get a lot of snow. So for me, summer's everything, and I'm so excited for the summer. I cannot wait. And I can't wait to go to Florida and spend time with our family and just have really soft skin from the humidity. I'm so excited. Anyway, okay, I'm done talking. That's it for the video. Sound off down below. What is your favorite summer palette? I'm so curious. You guys always have the best suggestions. So don't hold it back on us. Share with us in the comment section what is going to be your favorite palette for the summer. I'm so curious. Sound off down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.